You've tuned into Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes. Your access to success strategies and more to help you move onward and upward with your life. Listen in each week as she interviews others who have really taken their essence to the next level and truly unpaused their life. Now here's your host, Dr. Callie Estes.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Callie Estes, and I am founder of the Addictions Academy, the Addictions Coach, and Rehab Rescue. Welcome to Unpause Your Life. This is a great podcast where we showcase people who have done something extraordinary with their life. I welcome you, and I hope you enjoy all of our guests.
On my way, found a reason to wake up another day.
Before we get started, let's hear this short message from one of my supporters.
All the things that you won't do.
Did you know 81% of Americans would like to become a published author? Chances are you might be one of them. What's stopping you? Writing and publishing a book takes a lot of work and is expensive, right? Well, not anymore. For your next book project, or even your first, team up with Hassle-Free Books. They make it so easy to become an author. They remove all of the fuss and struggle and make it smooth and simple. And it's far more affordable than you could ever imagine. Go to hasslefreebooks.com and use promo code UNPAUSE to receive a 10% discount off of any book project. Get started right away and become a published author in as little as 45 days. For your free 1-hour book formula guide, which will show you just how painless it can be to become an author, head to hasslefreebooks.com today.
All right. Thanks again for joining me. Let's get started with today's show.
Took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of
You are listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes of the Addictions Coach and the Addictions Academy. My guest today is Justin McMillen, founder and CEO of Treehouse Recovery. Justin McMillen is a recovery advocate and treatment consultant who specializes in abstinence-based recovery and wellness. After years of battling personal addiction, McMillen muscled his way to a healthy, sober life. Set on helping others facing addiction, he established Treehouse Sober Living in 2008, and in 2013, McMillen founded Treehouse Recovery, a male-only recovery partial hospitalization facility with locations in Southern California and Portland, Oregon. Welcome, Justin.
Hello. How are you today, Doctor?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to be on your show. I want to thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I've been listening to your show, and I'm really, really excited to do this. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you. Now, tell me about Treehouse Recovery. I hear it has a little bit of a unique concept to it.
Sure. So, you covered a little bit in the intro there, but yeah, we are all male. Our demographic is about 18 to 35, although we've treated men, up into their 50s, and it's all types. So, professionals, lawyers, former athletes. We have a lot of millennials. We've got guys that have spent up to their 30s, living with their parents who've never worked a day in their life, and we also have guys that are coming off the street, almost, indigent. So we're kind of there for pretty much everyone. We have a medication-free philosophy, so we don't use any meds. Our program is got a pretty heavy physical component to it. So the end result of our program, sort of what you see coming out the back end, is guys that are in top physical condition. Yeah, so we're quite a bit different in that the program was designed by pretty much all people who are in recovery. We came together and put together a plan that addressed kind of a lot of what we saw as what was perhaps missing in the treatment field, and created what is the Treehouse program that we have today.
Okay.
So,
Now tell me a little bit about the physical component, because I've been around the block. I've been doing this 24 years. And the one thing that treatment centers fail to address is the fitness nutrition aspect. And I go to a lot of these places and they say, yeah, we have a gym. And I get there and they have 2 bocce balls and a band on the floor. And they're like, well, that's our gym. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not a gym. So tell me what you're doing in the fitness side of things.
Right. So because we don't use medications and we absolutely acknowledge biology's role in addiction, we focus on using physical fitness to get the body to a state of homeostatic balance as quickly as possible. So our goal is to get guys in the best physical condition of their life, and by doing so, give them the best opportunity to remain sober. It's more than just fitness, because it becomes a tool for them to manage their thoughts and feelings and emotions. So in a way, it takes place, every single person that comes to us or comes in our doors has used drugs to change the way they think and feel. And once they start to learn to use physical activity and to reconnect with their bodies, they start understanding that there's other options, and then that becomes a tool for them. So that's one part of it. I mean, really the backbone behind why we have the physical component to the program has to do with the idea that human beings as a whole in our culture have lost that part of who we are. If you really look at society as a whole, we really kind of quit moving as a species. We stopped moving, over the last 100 years since the Industrial Revolution. Human beings really don't have to move to survive in the way that we used to. And so if you look at that and you think, well, how does that affect emotional health and mental health? And you consider the fact that it does, then our goal is to get that part of the equation handled. And by doing so, we see that all these other things sort of get better. Depression gets better, sleeplessness, and guys start to regain a sense of connection with their bodies. It's really something special, because what happens is when you spend years abusing yourself and you start to understand that your body is a machine and a product of chemistry, and that you can keep it in a certain way, then it's not just about, I don't do drugs or I don't drink because I can't. It can become, well, I don't drink and do drugs because I don't want to, because I don't want to hurt this vehicle that I have, this body, this machine that I have that carries me around through my day. And it's really amazing, Doctor. It's like the guys coming out of the other end of the program are in the best shape of their lives. I mean, you see a guy that's been through Treehouse, and it's always like a shock just to see how fit and physically capable they are and how connected they are to their physical self.
Well, I'm not debating that, because I got sober on a yoga mat, and it was very different back then, back in the 90s, because you either went to treatment or you didn't, or you went to AA and NA. And my issue was my drug of choice was food, and I got put on diet pills by the doctor. So I had a trouble with the meetings, because when I went to NA for the diet pills, they had sugar and coffee and junk. And then, when I went to OA, they don't have any of that. So I couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't get sober. And I ended up going to a yoga class, and it was a guy in recovery, taught Ashtanga yoga, direct descendant of Bikram. And
Wow.
not Bikram, Baptiste. And he took one look at me and he's like, I'm going to get you sober. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And he goes, watch this. And he started teaching me yoga and breath work and how channeling all my emotions on the mat. And I was like, wow. And it worked. And I'm just shocked that more treatment centers don't employ that modality for some people, because it really does work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And once you start to understand that you actually do have the ability to change the way you think and feel by way of your action, that can be a very enlightening thing, and that you don't have to use medications or drugs to do that. Yeah. And reconnecting with your body and really developing a felt sense of the body. I mean, yoga is so amazing in that way in general, just that it allows a person to really check in with themselves and go inward. And there's also this piece of it around honoring yourself, taking care of yourself and loving yourself. And that's, we have one of the modalities that we have at Treehouse is called embodied presence. And it looks a lot like a yoga session, but really what it's about is reconnecting the mind and the body. So redeveloping a felt sense of the body and really looking at, okay, especially with opiate addicts, because, you lose a sense of how you actually feel from a physiological standpoint. So being able to just connect the mind and body, like, this is how I feel, this is me in my skin, this is what I'm doing. And then also yoga, also being able to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's a huge lesson for people in recovery is, we generally, our way as addicts is to try to avoid or evade anything that's uncomfortable. And so it's a beautiful place, a laboratory really, where a person gets to look at themselves and go, how do I deal with uncomfortability? And so, yeah, we love, yoga is a big part of what we do at Treehouse as well. That's great that you found yoga and that's a part of who you are. So,
yeah. And I bring it into all my clients. So if they hire me, they know what's coming. We're going to do fitness. We're going to kick the sugar habit, kick the white flour habit. Now, what do you guys do for nutrition? What's your take on that?
So we teach guys about ways to eat, but we're not, because we don't do residential, we don't house guys. We're a PHP program. We don't get into, actually feeding them, but it's worked really well, because what's happened is there's a culture in our community where the guys are cooking for each other and they're focused on, what the best diet is for them. And they're taught this sort of thing. So in ESM, which is exercise as a pathway to healing, that's a specific modality, they're taught about different types of diets. So we got guys that are doing like keto, we got guys that are doing intermittent fasting. It's all across the board. We don't have a one size fits all sort of scenario, but our entire staff, it's on a regular basis. You could ask somebody, oh, what are you doing? And this guy's doing anabolic fasting. This guy's doing ketogenic. This guy's a vegan, we got all different types. So yeah, we don't specifically address nutrition. We don't have a nutrition modality, but it's a part of what we do. It's part of the culture here.
Now, what made you start this being so fitness heavy?
So it starts with me, I guess, in my recovery. I've been sober 9 years. It'll be 10 years this June. And when I got sober, I didn't go to treatment. I was in active addiction for a long time. It didn't get really bad until the last few years. And as I got sober, one of the mantras that I was given by a very dear friend of mine who also works with me at Treehouse was, at this point, Justin, it doesn't matter what you think or feel. It only matters what you do. He used to say that to me all the time, because my thoughts, my emotions weren't working for me. And he would say, get up and be active, get up and move. And I really, really got into that idea. I was really looking at that heavily. There was one point where I was in a state of mania, freshly sober, where I was trying to get myself regulated. And I literally ran from one town, Costa Mesa here in Orange County, to Laguna Beach. And it was about 12 miles. I did it barefoot. And I had a lot of epiphanies around the idea that feelings weren't real, because I could take a drug and change my feelings. But there was a reality around the fact that I could move. I could do something. I could be physical. I could move. I could go into action. And so I started running, and running developed into me personally developing myself to where I'm getting in better and better shape. And then that grew into the idea that in order to regulate emotion, that I needed to be physical. And then that developed into more. And that was combined with this other side of the equation, which is I started the housing side of things. And I did that because it really started with just me living in a house with some other guys, and then ended up getting another house, and that grew over time. But most of the people that were coming to live in my houses were coming out of treatment, and all of them were showing up at the door with these big bags of medications. And because at the time I had no idea which meds could or couldn't be, I just said no meds. We don't do meds here. And, guys can't bring these medications into the houses. And I was looking at that, and I'm like, why is it that we're treating addiction with all these pills? I mean, if for me as an addict, I'm going to go to a pill if I have that option. And there's got to be another way. There's got to be a way to do it without medications. So with that came the idea of like optimizing a person's physiology. And so that was just a kind of a seed that was planted. Okay, so from there was the idea of there was clearly a need for treatment. I could see that there was a problem. At that point, I'd seen over 1,000 people come through my houses, and I had a really honest picture into what was really going on in the treatment space around me. And I was shocked that it wasn't working. And so I put a team of people together and we started developing a plan. And some of those people were former ex-military, a U.S. Navy SEAL, some fitness people, some former therapists, some doctors. And over 18 months, we built Treehouse into what it is today.
Let's talk about that for a second. Talk about your Navy SEAL background, because that's what interested me to have you on here, was that it was totally different. A lot of these treatment centers are basic, run-of-the-mill, talk therapy, a little extra fluff here and there. Tell me how the Navy SEAL training impacted your program.
Okay, so I'm not a Navy SEAL, but I have several friends that are. And one of the things that I knew is that the level of connection that I would hear about from my friends that were on the SEAL teams was something that I longed for, and something that I knew that if I had in a treatment program, that it would be more successful. The kind of connection that the guys make in the SEAL teams is like legendary. I mean, they're arguably the most effective teams in the world. And wanting to have a piece of that was something that I thought was really critical. So I wanted to bring that into the equation. How do we create that same level of connection and interdependency that the SEAL teams have? A group of 12 guys that are so close that they finish each other's sentences and they just crave that connection, and they rely on each other and they depend on each other. I wanted that to be part of what we do. So I started talking to Neil Trusso, who's an amazing man. He's actually the physical empowerment director for our Orange County location. And he and I really went back and forth around a bunch of different things. And we actually developed a specific modality that is based off of a training exercise that's done in the SEALs. And so our guys are doing this exercise 3 days a week in the mornings for 2 hours. And it's amazing. It's a form of therapy that we have. It's called action-based induction therapy. What it is it's an exercise where a group of guys, it's done on the beach. We have a team of guys. So there's, like in one of our tracks, there would be, say, 12 guys. So there's 6 people on each boat with one therapist on the boat with them. These boats are rubber rafts, so they're whitewater rafts. They take them down to the beach, and they're engaging in teamwork-based exercises. And all the exercises they come from the SEALs, but they've been sort of reconditioned to focus on working the 9 functions of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for human connection. And so we're asking that part of the brain to engage in functionality during these exercises with these guys. And by doing so, we hope to rebuild that and make it stronger. So imagine 6 a.m. in the morning, you're out in Newport Beach and you see a group of guys paddling through the surf on a boat together, a whitewater raft, a rubber boat, waves crashing over the boat. They're all having to work together. I don't know if you've paddled before, but everybody has to be in time sync. Yeah. So people have to be in sync in order for it to work. And so there's this attunement that happens between the individuals on the team, and they're experiencing, a struggle together, and they're getting through it together, and they're developing a bond and a connection together. And they're dealing with things like regulation of fear, and they're dealing with things like emotional regulation. They're dealing with things like morality, like how do my actions affect those around me on my team? And they use it in the SEALs because it allows them, the trainers, to watch. This is done during basic underwater demolition school as a tool to watch how these guys interact together to sort of vet who's going to be the best SEAL. So it's a great tool for us to be able to get a clear window into how well an individual is able to connect with us and how well they are able to work with others, which is obviously like a really important thing for us for treatment planning. So we're out there on the beach. We've got counselors on the beach and therapists. Guys are paddling through the water. They're working together. They're dealing with situational stressors. They're overcoming things together, and they're growing as a unit. And so they're being assessed as a unit, as a team. And these teams of guys stay close. I mean, after graduation, these guys are staying like tight. They're becoming lifelong friends. One of our goals is to get these guys to establish a connection, at least one, if not multiple connections that they maintain for the rest of their lives. And that's happening every day. So yeah, it's a really beautiful thing. And we use, like I said, the exercises are all based on different functions of the prefrontal cortex. So as you know, the prefrontal cortex goes dormant in active addiction or goes haywire. And so our goal is to get that to come back online and to be strong and robust. And so anything we can do to get the individual to engage in some sort of function that exercises that so that they get stronger in that area is positive. So the boats do that. And it's absolutely amazing. It's totally beautiful to watch. I don't know if you've seen the videos of the guys doing it, but they paddle through the waves, they turn around, they surf the boats in. There's all these drills that they do on the boats, and they love it. I mean, it's incredible. Like,
you're combining the team building aspect, like the corporate team building, along with the Navy SEAL training, along with fitness, to show them empowerment and recovery. That's actually really interesting. How long have you guys been doing this? What's your success rate? Because that's really a good model. We don't do that in treatment. We have them sit in groups for hours upon hours upon hours while we lecture them, and it doesn't work.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, we've been doing it for 5 years, and at this point, our last set of surveys that we just did, over 70% of our clients are still sober, or were sober on the day of the survey. There's a bunch of different ways to look at these numbers, as you know. So, I mean, you can look at different windows of time, but yeah, we're showing results with our program that nobody's ever seen before. I mean, in our community, we're known. If people just say, "Yeah, Treehouse is different," what they're doing is like a whole nother level. And so much so that we've had the opportunity. I mean, we recently went to Washington, D.C. We worked on the CAR Act to advise on, different approaches to treat addiction. And yeah, you're right. I mean, getting guys out of the group therapy session where they're sitting in a circle or talking about their feelings in a one-on-one session and getting them out into a team environment and teaching them how to be, how to play well with others is a really important part of success in life. Every guy that graduates Treehouse knows what kind of leader they are. They know what they bring to a team. They know what they need from a team. And they're very, very clear about that. And they also crave being on a team. So these guys they're learning this stuff and they're taking it out into their life, and they're coming back and they're talking about their job and they're saying, yeah, this is how the team is there. I mean, they're taught, because it doesn't just work there. It's interdependent with all the other modalities. So they get back and they're getting this in addiction education. They're getting, thoughts about who they are in terms of community and like a social connector, like how they're interacting with other people. It's all being connected and it's all related. So it's pretty amazing to see.
Awesome.
Huge teamwork side of what we do. It's
okay.
A big part of what we do.
And this is a male-only facility, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would our listeners find you if they want to come there, or they have a family member they want to refer? How would they reach you and find out more information about you and, of course, the treatment center?
Yeah, so you can find us at www.treehouserecovery.com. Instagram is Treehouse Recovery, and you can also find us at Treehouse PDX in Portland. We also have a YouTube channel. So, but it all starts with just go to www.treehouserecovery.com, and you can find everything from there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put that up on our website for our listeners so that they can find you and find the center and ask some questions. And I want to thank you for coming on Unpause Your Life.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Awesome. And you've been listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes. Hey everyone, thanks again for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. Head on over to iTunes and Apple Podcasts and leave a comment or review of what you think. Or contact us at 1-800-706-0318. If you want to be on our show, feel free to email or call. And if you have a topic, feel free to email or call as well.
Thanks for listening to Unpause Your Life. For show notes and more, head on over to unpauseyourlife.com.
Big shout out to recoveryinnovators.com for help producing this show. Thank you, guys.
I took a walk down the long road where they said that I shouldn't go. On my way found a reason to wake up another day. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape in love with my pain. I may be awake, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To believe. I took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of flying. Now I'm so far